Welcome back everybody to this new episode of ConveyorU in this hot sunny day. So today we are talking about last in first out buffers, specifically about spiral buffers. The working principle is not at all different from what we already discussed for paternoster buffering systems. So we are going to have a vessel to send products inside and take them out afterwards when there is a production stop downstream. So basically the working principle is still the same. The only difference is that we will have different mechanical systems, and this allows us to be much more flexible and to treat let's say faster lines, wider range of products. So we'll see. Spiral conveyors are basically a special kind of conveyor that can move many meters of chain with a single motor, and this allows to reduce the power installed to have the same number of meters of buffering space. There are multiple advantages to the spiral buffering system, and we'll get into these later on. Spiral buffers are bidirectional conveyors, and products go up when loading and down when unloading. This means that the product will revert its motion when unloading, and we need to take special care of this because the orientation of the product will change, of course. Now, sometimes this is not a big deal, but sometimes it must be taken care of, and we need to design a special kind of I/O system to do this. So basically, let's say that if we are handling a product that have no particular requirement for the orientation, what we can do is to have what we call an inline I/O systems. So these are either flow pack with transparent film, or trays or something like that basically have no markings on it, and from the aspect ratio they don't have any difference in size and shape and form when we revert the motion 180 degrees. And so in this case we don't need to take care of the orientation. We can just have the product flow back to the line as if it was the same exact product as we loaded. So we will use a video of a machine that we already installed some years ago to show you what we mean by reverting the motion. Okay, so this is the first case number one. It's the most easy case, and also allow a little bit of more flexibility, because this means that when we give back production to the line, we can achieve very high speed. So if for whatever reason the downstream machine starts back but the upstream machine stops for whatever reason, we can empty the buffer at full speed as if the line was working. Okay, so this is case number one. Let's go to case number two. So case number two is, for example, a box like this. This is for my stomachache. Okay, in this case you can see that the different faces of the box have different drawings, and most likely these drawings will need to present themselves exactly in the same position as we loaded. So let's say that the product is marching in this direction. This means that this size will stay on the left side of production. So when we unload the buffer, if we go back and we go back to the line, simply like this, we will have this side going on. So we will need something different. We will need a pusher to give the product back into line. So we revert the motion, come to a stop. We will have the normal line here, and when we create the space to give back the product, we will just push it inside. It can be either with a pneumatical device or a motorized device, doesn't matter, but the point is that we need to transfer it by with a device, with a mechanical device that doesn't allow the product to rotate. Okay, this means that we can keep the orientation as we loaded, but on the other hand, that we are much less fast into giving back the product to the line. This is something very important that we need to take care of. Okay, always remember this when you are sizing a spiral buffering system. You will not have the same problem on a paternoster, because the paternoster will not change the orientation, will just go up. In this case, so now let's go back to the advantages of the spiral buffering systems. As we said, this is basically a very long conveyor with a single motor. The main advantages are that the product is flowing continuously inside the buffer, and therefore we can achieve higher speeds compared to what we were doing with the paternoster buffering system. The loading speed can be adjusted through a control photocells, so we can check and pace exactly the products inside the buffer. This allows to optimize the buffering space and also allow to control the distance between the products. So this means that we will have the possibility to handle the buffering space with zero pressure between the products themselves. So this will keep the products available. We'll keep the products in perfect shape without risk of damaging them. This means that we can deal with flow pack, we can deal with a product that can squash and anything like that, because we will not have any pressure on them. And another important point is that from the maintenance point of view, these are relatively simple machines. These are conveyors, and so there is, let's say, less mechanics involved, and so the total cost of ownership of these machines compared to a paternoster will be eventually reduced, even if the initial investment may be a little bit higher. Okay, well, maybe a little much higher, but that depends on how much buffering space you are going to we are going to achieve. Okay, so let's go a little bit into our two main kind of spiral buffering system, which is the butt buffer number one and the LIFO system. Okay, the butt buffer. The butt buffer is our standard system. It uses our tabletop chain, and it has a drive sprocket on each curve Also on each spiral you will have one drive pocket on the 180-degree curve of the spiral. Normally we do this with just one spiral going up and then reverted motion. This allows us to have a 150-meter maximum of buffering space and a very small footprint, because the average turning radius of the chain is 200 millimeters. So by changing the axis between the curves, we can achieve higher or lower buffering spaces, but on the end of the day, the footprint is going to be very tight anyway. Okay. The other kind, it's a little bit older, but we still use it because allow very big buffering spaces, is the LIFO system. This is not a standard chain, it's a special chain which is driven by rotating drums, 2 rotating drums to be precise. So it always is a double spiral, always one going up and one going down. And this, to our standard machine, which is about 2.5 up by 5 meters of footprint space, allow more or less 500 meters maximum of chain. But for special machines that on the other end will need to be assembled on the customer's plant, we can reach even 700 meters of buffering space, or maybe more, depending on the size of the product. Okay, so these two kind of buffers are the last in first out spirals that we offer. We can see some detailed video on our YouTube channel, so go and check it out. So let's say that the rule of thumb to select one of these is use a butt buffer if you can, up to 150 meters of buffering space, and use an LFlex whenever you need to go higher in terms of buffering space. Okay, so this is pretty much it for what concerns the last in first out spiral buffers that we propose. You can have more information on looking at on our videos. There is a playlist about all our kind of buffer that we made in the past, so you can find the LIFlex and the butt buffer inside there. Go check it out, and we will see you soon on the first in first out buffer spirals. So talk to you soon later. Thanks for listening again to ConveyorU, and bye bye. See you next time.